Hello, Aluxers. This is a special series we're doing all week here at Alux, where every day we're showcasing the life of one of the most memorable mobsters. Enjoy it. Today we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about El Chapo. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get informed. Hello, Aluxers, and welcome to another original video brought to you by our team here at Alux.com. In this video, we're discovering 15 things you didn't know about El Chapo. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was the infamous kingpin of a Mexican drug cartel called Sinaloa. He was born into poverty in La Tuna, Mexico, a rural community known for its poppy fields and opium production. There's no exact date recorded for his birth, but it could either have been 1954 or 1957. El Chapo means shorty, and although small in stature, El Chapo was big on crime. Notorious for escaping authorities, being worth billions and billions of dollars, and importing more drugs to the U.S. than any other kingpin, he truly made his mark on the most wanted list. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Okay, enough with the intro. Let's dive in and get a better look at the 15 things you didn't know about El Chapo. Number 1. Forbes ranked him as one of the world's most powerful people. Forbes, most notable for putting together the lists of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world, ranked El Chapo as one of them. Not just once either, but 3 times. In 2009, 2010, and 2011. Considering that his cartel was responsible for 25% of all the drugs entering the U.S. from Mexico and an estimated net worth of $14 billion, this is no surprise. Number 2. He claims to be responsible for killing 2,000 to 3,000 people. When the elusive drug lord was finally captured by the federal government for the second time in 2014, he confessed without prompt he likely killed between 2,000 and 3,000 people, one of them an archbishop. This might be believable as there are plenty of witnesses coming forward since his arrest claiming they have seen the torture, murder, and rape of innocent people in addition to the people he killed on shooting sprees and knifing sprees when in control of his cartel. Number 3. He's married to a former beauty queen 32 years his junior. When Emma Coronel Aispuro met El Chapo, he had his men swarm her beauty pageant party with guns as he touched down on a plane to meet her. That very night, at the age of 17, she announced she was going to marry him. Born in the U.S. before living in Mexico, when she gave birth to the couple's twins 7 years ago, she flew to Los Angeles, despite the fact her husband was on the most wanted list. Today, she still throws lavish parties for the twin girls and seems to be afforded a very comfortable lifestyle, all while claiming she has no idea where her husband's wealth is hidden. She is his 4th wife, and El Chapo has 10 children. Number 4. El Chapo escaped authorities not once, but twice. One of the most intriguing things about the most wanted drug lord in the world is that he escaped. El Chapo, after his arrest in 1993, calmly continued his affairs from jail, treating the guards like servants and eventually bribed one of them to open his cell door in 2001 so he could slip into a laundry cart and escape to a waiting car. It's estimated that the bribe money he spent was close to $2.5 million. The second time was after his recapture in 2014. After a year of incarceration, he tunneled out of the high-security prison in Mexico and remained free for 1 year before his recapture in 2016. Number 5. Estimates of his fortune are between $1 billion and $16 billion. El Chapo has been on the Forbes list of most powerful people not just once but 3 times. His wealth has varied between reports. While it probably topped out at $16 billion before his final arrest, chances are it's dwindled down to $1 billion as the war on drugs continues, and he doesn't have the same access to running his business as he used to. Number 6. At the age of 15, he started his own marijuana farm. When he was a boy, El Chapo's life was hard and rural. His father sold drugs to support the family, but rarely did they see the money. El Chapo resorted to selling oranges on the street. He had no formal schooling as there was no school, and he had to depend on traveling teachers to get the little education he did have. He finally resorted to opening his own marijuana farm to support the family and started his quick ascent into becoming the most powerful drug lord in history. Number 7. The first time El Chapo was locked up, he was allowed as much cocaine as he wanted. When locked up in the maximum security Altiplano prison, El Chapo continued to run his cartel and not in secret. He was notorious for having cocaine and other drugs brought into the prison, as well as inviting many female friends to entertain the guards. Number 8. He had a lover in prison. Zulema Hernandez is perhaps the most tragic story of being mixed up with El Chapo. He met her while she was a security guard at the Puente Grande maximum security prison. Not only did she become pregnant and then have an abortion, she was prostituted around to other guards, and finally, when she escaped, she was murdered, and her body was found in the trunk of a car. Number 9. When he was 30 years old, he kidnapped and then married a bank clerk. So romantic. When El Chapo was 30 years old, he fell in love with a young bank clerk named Estela Peña in Mexico. Not much is known about the relationship, and it didn't last. This seems to be El Chapo's method of operation when it comes to women. He sees what he likes, and then he just takes it. Number 10. El Chapo had people working 24 hours in 8-hour shifts, 7 days a week, counting his money in special rooms. It's no secret that El Chapo owns property in New York, LA, Mexico, and South America. Everything from luxurious homes to ranches and warehouses. In some of these homes, he had rooms built with special hydraulic walls where the money could be stored. In these rooms, there would be tables and money-counting machines manned by teams of money counters who worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in 8-hour shifts. Supposedly, the team could count $1 million in a few hours and would always reserve $1 million as spending money for El Chapo's wife to take at her convenience. Number 11. El Chapo claimed to have put a $100 million bounty on Trump's head. After Donald Trump made disparaging comments about Mexico and drugs, a now-deleted Twitter account run by Guzman's son responded to Trump. El Chapo claimed to have put a $100 million bounty on Trump's head. While this might just seem like another Twitter war, Trump was so concerned, he contacted the FBI for protection and investigation. Number 12. He would shut down restaurants and foot the bill. El Chapo was notorious for sending his guards into restaurants who would then instruct everyone to stay seated, not leave, and turn over their cell phones so their boss could eat in peace. On the upside, he always paid the bill. However, that must have been a stressful meal, considering he was also known for murdering 4 Jehovah's Witnesses who had the misfortune of knocking on his door one day. Number 13. El Chapo is credited with creating 62 tunnels between the United States and Mexico. While this may seem unbelievable, there are 181 known tunnels in total that have been built by various drug smugglers, but as usual, El Chapo had to have the most. He looked at the border between the US and Mexico like a block of Swiss cheese and found a way to get all the marijuana, cocaine, and methamphetamines he was selling at top dollar through. Number 14. He was interviewed by Sean Penn for Rolling Stone. Sean Penn is now trying to distance himself from the piece that was published less than a month after the interview, stating he regretted it. El Chapo happily met with the famous actor, boasting, "I'm a supplier of more methamphetamine, heroin, marijuana, and cocaine than anybody else across the globe. I have a task force of airplanes, submarines, boats, and trucks." The interview was done in the midst of a manhunt for El Chapo. So what does Penn regret? The interview, or that it likely led the authorities to the famous drug lord? Number 15. He's a folk hero in his hometown. You can buy shirts, caps, and children even dress like him for Halloween in his hometown and surrounding area because people love him. He's a hometown folk hero, and people are stunned at his quick rise to power that he held on to for so long. Unfortunately, his drug enterprise has helped to provide income for many of the people in his hometown who make a living producing poppies and marijuana for his cartel. Well, Aluxers, there you have it. 15 things you didn't know about El Chapo. Now that you've learned some more about the world's most powerful drug lord, we'd love to know. If you could ask El Chapo one thing about how he ran his business, what would it be? Post your answer in the comments below. And of course, as a thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end, here's your bonus. Number 16. The ATF, or American Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, had a terrible plan to try and break up the Sinaloa cartel that ended in disaster. Also called the Fast and Furious Mission, El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel was supplied with automatic weapons by the ATF in hopes they would be able to track the henchmen they sold them to and arrest them. From 2009 to 2011, almost 2,000 firearms were illegally purchased for $1.5 million and dispersed throughout Mexico and the U.S. But after 2 of the weapons linked to Fast and Furious turned up near the scene where a U.S. Border Patrol agent was gunned down, the mission came to a grinding halt, and an investigation was launched against the ATF. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.